The Walt Disney Company is waging war against cinema owners, cinema goers, and even IMAX. But Jon Favreau, director of The Mandalorian, he's having none of that. And why? Because it turns out the new Star Wars film coming to silver screens is also going to IMAX screens. And he just might be leaving Disney. So for him, it's time to defend the enemy of Disney, the one in the crosshairs, IMAX itself. What a day, what a great day, folks. It's a joyous time to gather together and understand better what's going on in entertainment. As we dive into today's topic, consider clicking the like button. And if you're not yet subscribed, just know we're working hard every single day to earn your support right here on the Pro Channel. Jon Favreau, as he promotes The Mandalorian Grogu, is promoting Disney's enemies. What are we talking about? Well, take a look at this out of Engadget. The Mandalorian Grogu director used Apple Vision Pro to preview the film in IMAX. Oh, I love this story because the Walt Disney Company is currently waging a war against IMAX, all because of the Avengers, because Dune Part 3 is getting the exclusivity for IMAX, and Disney is furious, and they've invented this stupid new classification for cinemas that will go nowhere and only make enemies inside the industry. And Jon Favreau, who may not be a Disney man for much longer, he's basically said, no, I'm friends with IMAX. I love these guys. Devendra Hardawar has the article here out of Engadget. It says he's going to be using IMAX. But this is what's great. Listen to this quote. It says, so I'm making an IMAX movie. I'm looking at a TV screen, and no matter how big your TV screen is, it's not an IMAX screen, Favreau said in a recent episode of the Town Podcast. Can I tell you all a secret too? It doesn't matter how big your Infinity Vision cinema is. It's not an IMAX. Built software so that I can pop on my Apple Vision Pro and be sitting in an IMAX movie theater and see the full aspect ratio when we're lining a shot up. And I can watch that take and see what people will see. Jon Favreau bragging up IMAX, and he should. Why? Well, out of Fantha Tracks, love the name, The Mandalorian Grogu behind-the-scenes featurette filmed for IMAX. This movie's been filmed for it. And you gotta love it, Lou. And at the same time, Disney is waging war with IMAX over this silly situation where Disney can move up 1 week on Avengers Doomsday and they would be in IMAX, but they don't want to. And so Disney is infuriating IMAX. Lou, what do you make of the idea that Favreau is trying to play this the right way and be friendly?
If I had come to any of you 25 years ago and said, I will give you free 500,000 shares of any of the following companies, pick one. Disney, Warner Brothers, Paramount, or IMAX? How many would have picked IMAX and you'd all have been wrong?
15 years ago, I would have been betting on Disney. I mean, honestly.
Oh, sure. Everybody would have. But, well, let's say with the proviso you can't sell them for 15 years or whatever it is. But still, these people at IMAX, they make friends and influence people instead of starting fights. And that's probably the best way to mix a bunch of metaphors, honey, vinegar, all that sort of thing. It's just insane.
Lou, why did Disney decide to wage war with IMAX before The Mandalorian Grogu comes out? If this is a movie shot for IMAX, isn't it in Disney's interest to wait until June to go to war with IMAX and try to pressure them to do whatever it is they're going to do?
But they're petulant little children, and that's the way petulant little children do things. The other thing is, IMAX is fast becoming the Kleenex of large screen projection.
I see.
You know what I'm saying? In other words, the whole deal was, once upon a time, we had facial tissue, and Kleenex so dominated the market that even Scotties or whatever were called Kleenex by the average person.
Right.
I don't think the average person, certainly now and definitely within 5 years, is it IMAX or is it this Max or is it that Max? They don't care. To them, it's all IMAX. And it's not.
And Infinity Vision has a 0% chance of working, I would say.
Infinity Vision. What's the last thing we heard with Infinity in it? That was those rocks in the glove, right?
Right. I'll just want to point out that this video is currently presented in Ultra Karate Infinity Vision. So
man.
It's a standard I just implemented.
And it only applies to us in about 3 other channels.
Oh, well, you know,
so
we're special. Aren't we special?
I'm going to play devil's advocate here on this story. Of course he's promoting it in IMAX. The movie's coming out in IMAX. This movie still needs to make money. They're not going to all of a sudden be like, and whatever you do, don't go watch it in IMAX. This movie has to make money.
So Marv, why did they do this then? The timeline, this is what's screwy to me. I agree 100% with you. Why could Disney, Lou says they're petulant. Why did Disney not say to Marvel, do not do this at CinemaCon. We're going to hold it until Comic-Con. We're going to wait until June. We're going to wait until July. And then we're going to slime the IMAX guys for daring to go with Dune Part 3, but we're not going to screw over our Star Wars movie.
Well, I don't think that this thing that they've got going against IMAX is going to stop Disney movies from coming out in IMAX in the future. This is the Infinity Vision thing is just so that they can trick people into feeling good about going to see Avengers Doomsday in other formats because it's Infinity Vision, if that means anything. At the end of the day, they still need to not burn that IMAX bridge too much because there are too many IMAX theaters. And if all of a sudden Disney gets frozen out of every premium screen, that's not going to happen. IMAX couldn't afford that. Disney couldn't afford that.
I think they burned that bridge because what they did was they said, okay, we're going to release Endgame in September? And then they said, and if you go watch it at one of these silly Infinity Vision theaters, which that doesn't mean anything, as Jonas just laughed at them for, and they deserve it. They have no impact on these theaters. They just randomly selected 70 and said, these are the Infinity Vision theaters. But once they said, we're going to send a special cut of the film of Endgame to these and not to IMAX, that's when they crossed the line, I believe, and burned bridges.
Right. So they've already, by the way, re-released Endgame in theaters with additional footage in the past. And it was, 1, there was a Stan Lee tribute. 2, there was an end credit scene, which was the first part of Spider-Man Far From Home, which is a really lackluster Spider-Man movie. And they added 1 unfinished scene of the Hulk saving people from a fire. It's the classic, these are PS1 level graphics, and it was incorporated into the film. So they better do something better than that if they're going to do that with Endgame. Most of what I'm hearing is there'll be an end credit sequence that connects it to Doomsday, which, if it's as good as the one for Fantastic Four, I can't wait to see what part of Robert Downey Jr.'s face might be sticking out of the cloak.
Shawarma Wars.
The Schwartz machine.
Yeah.
I honestly think it's if the plot leaks are true about Avengers Doomsday, I think the post-credit scene will be Steve Rogers holding his son, and then there's a knock at the door, and it's Loki. I think that will be I think that's going to be the post-credit scene.
That would be great. The Lord of Stories.
Yes, it should be Doom though.
Well, we've covered before that YouTube is partnering with Hollywood to try to erase the ability to use anybody's face from AI. Marv, if that's true, that scene will exist in about 20 different versions even before the movie releases from people running AI channels. And Hollywood's never faced that before. Culture, I've never seen Disney face this before, where they have a bedfellow in IMAX that they're going to burn the bed down as soon as they get away from the Mandalorian Grogu, and Jon Favreau, I think, will be gone from Disney. I don't think he's going to stay with Lucasfilm. I could be wrong. He has no reason to maintain a conflicted relationship with IMAX. He has every reason to be friendly with them, and he's doing just that.
Yeah, and I think that's a smart play for him. He can find other jobs in Hollywood. He's been a genius for a lot of people. If I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, the original Iron Man came out underneath Paramount's banner, if I'm correct. I didn't think that got rolled into the Disney until they were actually purchased by Disney, and I should say the Marvel was purchased by Disney.
So, yeah.
So if that's all, he's got no reason to go after them. Plus, this Infinity Vision sounds something like a video game that's going to go away in 5 years. So I feel like, that's a bad plan too. Why would you alienate the biggest player with the biggest format? That doesn't make sense. So.
All over one single film that you could go 1 week earlier. Panel, final question for all of you. Anybody take this? Who's more likely to move? Is Disney? Are we seriously going to release Dune Part 3 and Avengers on the same day and lose $200-300 million? It's just gone. Are we seriously? Is Disney seriously going to do that?
I think they are.
Good grief.
Yeah, they're going to leave that money on the table. They want to own the holiday corridor, which they're not going to do. It's honestly, at this point, I think it is a pride thing. I think it's like we don't want to be the one that backs down.
I'm actually going to push back on that a little bit. I'm surprised you think they're not going to blink in this case, because I think if it were still under Iger, I would agree with you. But I think D'Amaro, I think he recognizes that a failure of Doomsday on the level of what it could be if they have to make that choice between, if moviegoers have to choose between going to Doomsday or Dune, would be a bigger black eye. I think it's smarter for him to move it. And this early in his tenure, he's got to be looking at that.
I honestly think, Lauren, that I would have agreed with you up until the Infinity Vision thing. Once they rolled that out, I was like, okay, they're not moving.
Ooh, man, that's...
It's under Dana Walden. Dana Walden is besties with Kamala Harris. It reeks of the kind of poor judgment that the Kamala Harris campaign had. This is the kind of thing that just, they're trying to hip check IMAX and Warner Brothers and cinema owners and everybody. And it's like, Disney, you're big, but you're not that big. And you're going to turn a lot of people into enemies real fast with this one. They need to move, because if they don't, if Avengers Doomsday underperforms, they probably got 2 more Avengers movies that are going to be dependent on that. And you're talking about maybe $1 billion plus cost for having lost the opportunity to get people to go see the first one and get excited. It's a big, big deal. It's a huge deal. They need to move now. All right, folks, we'll keep an eye on it. But Jon Favreau, he's smart enough to go ahead and maneuver away from the manure that is the PR crisis Disney has made. And folks, I don't normally take credit for rhymes. That was a good one. I like that one. Maneuver. Well played. Folks, it's time to bid you adieu, but we hope that you will help us anew. And that is, we're only asking you click that like button. Share, subscribe, click it, stick it to those algorithms. It is the notification bell, and drop a comment down below. And oh, by the way, have you gone the way of thatparkplace.com? www.thatparkplace.com. It's the website that if you're not yet bookmarked to, well, you should be. A bastion of truth and knowledge when it comes to entertainment and everything that's going on. Go check it out today, folks. We would love to have you over there as well. All right, we are getting ready to head out, but do not fret, for we will put out 4 more videos tomorrow, so long as the good Lord allows. And we believe that probably, just might, happen. All right, until the next time we get to share time with you, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.